and candid in her expressions. If you see the latest issue of UPTU Watch, she has very explicitly told, like expressed, like not many new institutions should be opened up if the system has to become a mockery. So she is in the league of those people who feel that teaching is a glamorous profession. So moving further, I would just like to give you the background of this entire School Connect initiative which UPTU Watch has taken forward. We had organized a half a day long symposium at SOCM House, Delhi on 21st of October on the issue of information asymmetry and employability gap. You might be knowing that very recently even SOCM has released a report where they say that 10 to 15 million jobs are being created, but the industry is not finding enough students to take up those jobs. They are not skilled enough, they are not qualified enough, and they have a very detailed report. This comes from SOCM this time. So, Vice Chancellor sir had very explicitly said that employability is something which starts from probably from the date of birth. So, it is not possible to undo the wrongs which have been done in the 12 years of schooling in just 4 years of college or 2 years of college. So that just gave us an idea, an inkling, like why not then interlink the senior secondary schools at the class 12 when the student is coming from the school to the college. At that interface, if this dialogue can be started and if this interconnection can be initiated, so keeping that in mind, we felt like why not organize such sessions all across the state. And we are very honored and privileged that despite all their busy schedules, like such leading dignitaries, they gave their confirmation and they have come today. So just telling you like what is the need of connection, what is the need of the School Connect program. Just giving you a very direct and a very immediate answer. Lucknow has somewhere around 206 UP board schools, 75 CBSE schools, and 66 ICSE schools. Now our teams, field teams have been canvassing the city for the last 3 weeks, and they could not find any single channel or a mechanism through which they could reach out to all these 347 plus schools. We procured some lists from the district inspector of schools, and that list only had some addresses of the schools and some phone numbers. So now this is somewhat very strange because if we go to UP as a whole, there are 10,000 plus senior secondary schools, 9,000 UP board, 1,000 schools of CBSE and ICSE. Now, if there is no connection, if there is no channel at least to communicate to these educational campuses, what to talk about the excellence in education and what to talk about the furthering of the educational mandate. Now, this was similarly the case when we started 1 year back, that UPTU universe, the universe of UP Technical University was so huge that it took us a whole lot of 3 months to prepare this exhaustive map, compile the basic phone numbers, compile the basic details of reaching out to the colleges. Because if we cannot reach out, how to initiate a dialogue and how to redress the problems and the issues and challenges which the entire educational ecosystem is going through. Because education is all about interactions, and excellence in education is entirely about meaningful and multifaceted interactions. So in the absence of connectivity, how can educational interactions happen? And we just put forth a question in front of ourselves like, is striking a channel of communication such a daunting task? Can't the 10,000 schools be connected on a single platform where with just a flash of a message in today's technology, we can just shoot out communications to those schools? Now, if we have to reach out, the challenge is so huge, then how to move further? So, but despite all this, there are certain striking revelations which I wanted to share with you. The students of poorly connected schools affiliated to the UP board are performing no less than the better connected CBSE and ICSE board schools. For the last 2 months, UPTU Watch has been undergoing an exhaustive and extensive survey across the state. We have covered 60 colleges so far and 12,000 students sample has come to us. These students are the ones who would be graduating in the year 2011. They are MBA students and they are engineering students from 60 institutions affiliated to the GBTU and MTU. Now interestingly, if you see the board-wise distribution of students, 47% students come from UP board and the remaining 53% come from CBSE, ICSE and other state boards. Now it would be very striking if you see the performance of these students in engineering dimension. If we have plotted the graph as per the CS, EC, IT and ME, the 4 prominent branches. The UP board students are no less. They are end-to-end with the CBSE board schools. So now it just fancied us that the UP board schools, whom we are very difficult to reach out, if those students are performing neck to neck, if they are given a platform, if they are connected, if they are interacted or exposed to the outside world, to the possibilities, what further can emerge? This is despite all the negativities, all the stereotypes which we are having in the system so far. So earlier last year, this assertion had come that engineering talent pool of Uttar Pradesh is significantly better than the national average. That was a district study conducted across 9 colleges and with a sample size of 1500 students. Now we are releasing a much more extensive background study of the talent pool of Uttar Pradesh on 21st of January at Noida, where our Honorable Vice Chancellor sir, we have taken the privilege of inviting him and all. So this background study, we are finding out what is the average displacement of the student which is happening. We have made a displacement matrix as to what is the hometown of a student and where he is actually going for studies. And now that average displacement is very starking. I have just one, the analysis is still on. For in Ghaziabad, the average displacement is more than 100 kilometers. 60% students are going to Ghaziabad by traveling more than 100 kilometers. Like they are outsiders. The entire student chunk is actually, there is a east to west kind of a flow which is coming statistically. Students from the eastern districts of Maharashtra, Deoria, all these places, they are in huge numbers. And now we are also doing an analysis whereby how well these students are performing vis-a-vis the students of those regions itself. So these kind of interesting revelations are coming across, and they are saying we question a system, but students, the people are performing despite the system. So if somehow we can initiate such connections, such proactive approaches, probably the performance will increase many folds. Coming again, the report I mentioned, approximately 10 to 15 million jobs are expected to be created by next year, in which 75% will require vocational training. If not addressed properly, it can lead to a slowdown in country's economic growth. Now this is what industry is facing and industry is reeling through. On the educational scenario part, 40% seats in engineering colleges remained vacant in last admissions year. The colleges they have no clue as to what is exactly happening. A news report came like 1 out of 3 engineering colleges have applied to AICTE to shut down their IT branches. The grace for engineering education perhaps seems to be an all-time low. So now there is a dichotomy. At one side, industry is projecting a phenomenal increase in job vacancies and the need of the talented manpower. And on the other side, the educational system, the phenomenal infrastructure which has come across, at least in the state of UP by an investment of over 15,000 crores. Now over there, 40% seats are remaining vacant. So the information asymmetry which is somewhere between the various stakeholders is driving the higher education market towards a deadlock. Now probably this School Connect initiative is to symmetrize that information, to create, to actually engage the existing stakeholders, to educate the students at large that what is the actual scenario. Just by bombarding publicity and like ultra aggressive branding is not going to help the scenario. At one end there are jobs, at other end students are not eager to take up the courses. So I just gave that perspective. On 21st of October we had this very phenomenal deliberation over there. Lot of now this deliberation actually resulted into a very significant announcement from the NESCOM Noida Regional Council, which pledged to create 10,000 employable graduates by involving 2,000 industry mentors by May 2011. Now, one of the companies, Nucleus Software, has earmarked 20 mentors from within their project staff, and they would be mentoring the BTech final year students, 90 BTech final year students in 3 colleges. Now, this was the approach which we wanted to take a bit backwards. The alumni of a school who have actually graduated to the colleges, they can become the mentors of their younger chaps. Now, this is how the entire jo parampara education ki jo rahi thi, that can certainly come across. Otherwise, there are no authentic sources and mechanisms of passing on that wisdom, that learning, that understanding. So UPTU Watch actually looks forward for a similar such bold action forward after today's deliberation. Maybe we can initiate some program from Lucknow, from BNCT, that at least one college can at least adopt or at least can interact with say 10 schools or 15 or 20 schools. The institute has phenomenal, a good infrastructure, a good intellectual capital in terms of the faculty members. Can they become the mentors of the prospective students? So the mandate of this entire Connect program is to demystify the engineering education. Engineering education largely has gone terrifically biased in towards CS, IT and all those dimensions, leaving the core engineering domains altogether. Like students need to be motivated to pursue engineering. They need to be educated the differences between each branch of engineering. Now, till class 12, even after writing all the exams, IIT, JEE, IEEE, all sort of exams, students have no idea as to what different branches of engineering are and what they will be studying and what careers they will be pursuing in that. Now, with the advent of so big an educational infrastructure, they have the liberty to choose a branch of their choice, a branch which is closer to their aptitude. The students need to be educated that engineering is everywhere and anywhere. The passion, the fascination of opening up for example, a fan, the experimentation thing which we used to do in our homes by opening up the tape recorders, by opening up the television sets, that telephone sets, it is somewhere it is lacking. So this is the kind of passion which needs to be sent back, and that is where innovation, for which UP has got an innovation foundation. There is a talk of about creating a huge innovations network across. But if the spirit, if the passion in the students is really lacking from the class 12 itself, what they will do in the engineering colleges? The laboratories are lacking. Not lacking means the students are not using it even. The love of hard work, the love of doing, learning by doing is completely lacking. So what is lacking on the front, like we interacted a lot with the industry people about the entire question of employability. There is a huge gamut of employability trainers, whole lot of talk about it. Some of the very senior members from the industry, they culminated the entire stuff into this. That what is actually lacking in the students, and this comes from the people who are running billion-dollar enterprises and they are facing it day in and day out. And the bottom line they say is that it is the attitude towards learning, attitudes towards discipline, attitudes towards quality, attitudes towards responsibilities, and attitude towards others. Now these are some things which probably we are taught, we master, it becomes one with us. ये हमारे संस्कार में बन जाता है when we are at schools. Now probably this is not something which Dr. Upma Mishra is going to teach at her college when a student comes from class 12 to their college. Now just giving you a brief idea as to what level of value erosion we are facing through just from our real life examples. There are two photographs over here. They were taken on 4th of November. It was a Choti Diwali day and we were returning from Delhi to Mathura. Now this is a ambulance van of the Indian oil refinery. Now at Badarpur, the refinery man, the van which is required for taking the old people and the patients, the driver was using this van as a transport van. He just took up some passengers and he would make some money. Now this is the use of public utility which is being done. I'm just talking about the values, where somewhere the values are actually going across. The second photograph we just snatched, it was a heavy traffic day, a very busy NH2, completely drenched with vehicles. Now this was a black accent, we could not take good photograph, and it had a very shiny red lal batti. We have eminent people out there who have been accorded that. It had no marking as to what stature, and that was blowing sirens like anything. And probably they were not in an emergency, it was like a family kind of a trip. And it was such a obstinate display of power that everyone is just packed on that road. And that couple, whosoever they were, we just noted the numbers also, but we felt what is the point in pursuing that matter. But it was like rushing like anything, and they were making their way all through. Now these were the two incidents which made us feel on a single day on the roadside that is this the value? Is this the thing which we are actually going for? Today's Lucknow Times, if you have read that a daughter has asked for 2 lakh rupees a month for maintenance from her mother. So somewhere or the other we have to really think of these vital questions. And somewhere 2 weeks before, now this was the other photograph taken from that. Now this was the wisdom which comes from the normal truck wala. He says, "Waqt se pehle naseeb se zyada kabhi nahi milta." Now these are the wisdoms which are engraved, which are being taken up by the normal of the Indians, by the so-called uneducated, illiterate Indians who are truck walas, who in our high educated society are felt to be people who are condemned and all. So I just felt like, is this somewhere wrong in our educational system? As far as the skills are concerned, as far as the values are concerned. So where actually are we heading towards? So now coming to that, the first, what should be therefore the ideal of techno-managerial education for India, for Uttar Pradesh, for Lucknow, for BNCET? In the next 3 years, up to 25% of the world's new workers will be Indians. India's GDP per capita will quadruple from 2007 to 2020. India has 568 million more registered voters than US and a better turnout too. The average Indian is nearly 20 years younger than the average Japanese.